So we are talking about the importance of Ayurvedic research, importance of research in Ayurveda, importance of research in Ayurveda. This question can be asked in the university exam as well as for the Viva. We have already seen nearly 22 slides in the last video, and this is the 23rd slide you can see. So the importance of research in drug manufacturing process, okay? So nowadays we have to follow the every pharmaceutical company, they have the norms from the government, central government, and they are called as GMP. These norms is nothing but as one step ahead in the field of Ayurveda, in the field of research, okay? Because we have to standardize the Ayurvedic raw drugs. Please kindly excuse all my sentences may be like a revision to you. So you just open your last lecture and see whatever I'm seeing. Some points may be there, some points may be addition, something like that, okay? So we are talking about standardizing Ayurvedic raw drugs. If I want to prepare the Dashamula decoction, Dashamula kadha, and I ask the patient to prepare this, then I can bring, or patient can bring the raw material, Bharada Churna, Bilva, Grimanta, Sholnak, Patla, 10-2, Shaliparni, Prishniparni, Bruhati, Kantakari, Gokshur. These are the names of the Dashamula, 10 roots. It's a group of the medicine, okay? So I must know whatever I have bring as a Shaliparni, is it really Shaliparni? So nowadays it is possible that we can standardize all these raw drugs. Then next we have to standardize the doses and administration time, okay? So we have to make a research. That means there are different Vaishajya Kala, or the time management regarding the medicine has been already mentioned in Ayurveda. So for example, if I want to do the Rasayana, so Chyawanprash or whatsoever, I have to take early in the morning on empty stomach. But I should have that much data that the patients taking the medicine in the Rasayana Kala and Chyawanprash taken at any time in the day. And we have to make the two groups. And we have to make a research and we have to prove again and again, yes, this is Rasayan Kal if it is taken, that is more beneficial to prevent the infections like coronavirus, okay? So that can build up your respiratory system. Then there is need of drug manufacturing process. Now, the process, each and every process has to be standardized. That is called as SOP in the new language. Please write down this word, SOP is very common nowadays. Standard operating procedure. It may be the teaching process, it should be also standardized. At what time it should start, at what time it should finish, everything should be standardized. So, I am talking about manufacturing process. Now we are to talk about manufacturing process. So, if I want to take the decoction, so how much water is already mentioned in the Charanga, but then there should not be any deflection. And what are the results if you follow that method, textual method, or maybe a modified method that you have own discovered for your own practice. But anything should be standardized. Then about the final product. Now it is called as a batch control, this new word. For example, Rasashala has prepared Chyawanprash in the month of October 2019, okay? Chyawanprash. How much? Maybe 1000 kg. Packs, different packs have been prepared. And some patients is taking the regular Rasashala, Ayurveda Rasashala products Chyawanprash. Now in 2020, in the month of November, he has brought the Chyawanprash, which is prepared in the month of March. And then you find, oh, it's looking like something different. Its color not the same that I have taken previously. Are you getting my point? So there is a difference, if at all there is a difference, that's not a correct policy because you should maintain batch to batch standardization. I can give another example. For example, in the Pune, Maharashtra state, India, at least in my Pune city, there is one sweet maker, which is called Chittale Bandhu Mithai Wale. And his Bakarwadi is famous from my father's or the grandfather's age. Such a long period. Bakarwadi, Chittale Bandhu. Why this is happening? This is because of the standardized product, final product. And that is also applicable. That means some products, some medicines are good at some time and afterward it's not showing its effect, that means it is not standardized. So batch to batch standardization is required in Ayurveda, and that is possible only with the research. Okay. Then to identify the controversial drugs, can you see over here controversial? I have given example, common example, Brahmi plant. That you might have heard in the Dravya Guna Vigyan or Ayurvedic herbology. There is a difference of opinion which herb should be considered as a Brahmi. That the shape of the leaves like a brain or some small leaves, which is the real Brahmi. So there are some plants which are having some controversial, but now our CCRAs, Central Government Research, they have all finalized everything by taking the help of Ayurvedic herbologists or experts from the Dravya Guna Vigyan. But that is one of the points that research is expected in regards to controversial herbal plants. Next, to formulate the new drugs. Charaka Sutrasthan, chapter number 4, 50, different Mahakashaya Gana or the group of the medicines have been mentioned. Okay. So those group of medicines, we have to make the different trials because there are 10 herbs in each group. And that is mentioned as a Shwasahara Gana. I understand it's a breathlessness, it will reduce the breathlessness. Okay. But we should try one single herb, its action as an anti-breathlessness, anti-dyspneic. 2 herbs together, make decoction, make Ghanavati tablets. So in this way, we can formulate the new medicines. That means it is possible if you take only 2 or 3 drugs, that will not show that much effect. When you combine all the 10 drugs, that may show the effect. So this is the area, this is the objective, this is the use of research in Ayurveda. I am talking in this PPT, in this 26 slides, I am repeatedly telling you 2 important things. Definitions of research and utility, use or objectives of research in Ayurveda. Slide number 24, this is regarding the literary research. Okay, literary, it's not experimental, it's not clinical. It's you have to work with the books, samhitas, reference books. So there is basically manuscripts. This word is very important, manuscripts. So many people are there who are talking about manuscripts. I proudly can take their name. I salute their efforts. For example, Dr. Vaidya Bavdekar in Pune, Maharashtra State is there. Siddhanta departments of different colleges. In my college, Ayurveda College Degree Pradhikaran, Dr. Jamdade Madam, he is having something insight in this manuscript. But as an academician, my basic objection, this area is little bit neglected in the sense, people are taking efforts, no doubt. But that particular research is not reaching to the commonest average student of Ayurveda. He is very unknown. He don't know about manuscripts. Only he hears the lectures, seminars on manuscripts. That's why I have mentioned here CCIM, CCRAS, MUHS. These are the stakeholders, controlling bodies. I can not stakeholders, controlling bodies of Ayurveda. On their website, these educational materials should be available. This is research. Digital library of MUHS is available. How many manuscripts are Ayurvedic manuscripts are available on this MUHS digital library? I am doubtful. If anybody knows, please send me the links. I always welcome to gain the knowledge. But I am telling you, this is expected research in Ayurveda, research, utility of research. This is a part of research. Because to search for new knowledge is a research. And systematic. How systematic? Here you can see. Classification. Whatever the Sanskrit literature available, not our Sanskrit textbook, I am talking general Ayurvedic and Sanskrit literature, outdated or outprinted, out of print. Out of print, there are a lot of books which are out of print, but they are very valuable. They are originally in Sanskrit. I can tell you only one or two books. Write down those books. One book is about Sharyakriya, is totally in Sanskrit, of Vaidya or expert P.V. Vartak. Vartak's book of Sharirika in Sanskrit total. Write down this name. Another, Vaidya Bodas. Vaidya Bodas. Very nice books. They are available. They are out of print now. They are not available in the market. You have to search for those books, take it from somebody, make it a Xerox. But Bodas' book is about Dravya Guna Vijnan, totally in Sanskrit. So this is also a researching of the lost knowledges, treasure of the knowledge. Research, refind it, and make it available for the people. How can that be researched? We are using ultra-modern technology to preserve these manuscripts, to make it soft copies, to circulate it to the average students. Then only then we can say our science is progressing and progressing and progressing. Okay? Then, to put forth practical application of all the basic principles, we must talk in terms of practical application. Panchamahabhut Siddhanta. Few days back, I talked with my first year students. Akash, Vayu, Tej, Jala, Prithvi. Akash is a lumen, Srota, my Shwasa Marga, my Anna Marga, digestive system, respiratory system, Pranava Srotas, Annava Srotas. You see, only terminology is not important. How you are using this terminology. Okay, you talk it as a Pranava Srotas or you talk it as a respiratory system. But when I do the radiology, when the patient is doing the X-ray of the chest, PA view, and he brings to you, what Ayurvedic people should mention in their case paper? What they should mention? A case of pneumonitis. They have written that its consolidation, opacity has been observed, and it suggests you of pneumonitis. This is a remark of allopathic radiologist. But my Ayurvedic students, my teachers should talk in terms of Ayurvedic language. And they should say that Akasha Mahabhuta has been reduced and there is a invasion by the Prithvi Mahabhuta. And that's why I need the Kafadhna Chikitsa, which will break the Prithvi molecules. Which will break the Prithvi molecules. Do you understand what I'm saying? Maricha, simple, mire, black pepper, that can break this congestion. So then, if I start using or making the application of these biotechnological gadgets, resources for the Ayurvedic purpose, that can be called as a research. Mind my words. Research is not something like is not like a very fantastic or superb or meta human thing. It's our day-to-day. Research can be taught, research can be applied, research can be practiced in day-to-day life. Next. Clinical research. Of course, most of the people are very fascinated with clinical research because it's a comparatively easy thing. You have to take one formula, apply it to the patient, see whether it is useful or not. Simple thing. Shvasakasa Chintamani. Shvasakasa Chintamani, very costly drug, very potent drug. In the severe breathlessness due to the coronavirus. Now, in this date, that is 10th of April 2020, there is a corona pandemic, and that's why Dr. Deshpande is taking online lectures. Goa, Kerala state has fortunately agreed to adopt this Ayurvedic management directly into the patients of corona. Few places are there, few states are there, not every state. Maharashtra state, I don't know. Still now they are not readily accepted or advised Ayurvedic Vaidya to come into the ICU and treat this my breathlessness due to the patient is on ventilator and they are trying to Shvasakasa Chintamani Satana with the mud, honey. We must try for it. Whether the patient, because there is all the resources are available. Modern chest physician is available, physicians are available, experts are available. Paramedical staff is there, ventilators are there. So why not get a chance to use this time-tested? What Ayurveda says is time-tested. But now, what is the need is to re-verify. Okay, Charak has mentioned Maha Urdhva Chinna Tamakashvasa. Maha Urdhva Chinna. So Chinna, very serious. Actually, this is the different types of causes of breathlessness. Whatever the corona patients will say is breathlessness, it's like a Mahashwas or Chinna Shwas, where you have to use the very strong medicines. Anyway, here also I have mentioned Janapada Udhusaka Vyadi. But again, I very sadly want to say that whatever the Ayurvedic principles, whatever the Ayurvedic resources about the management that we have in our hand, if those measures are routinely practiced, especially in the Ayurvedic, government, private, anudanit, graduated colleges, then my students can believe that Dhuma Chikitsa is Rakshogna, antibacterial, antiviral. If they, our students, our teachers will experience this Nimbapatra fumigation in OT, in spite of using modern fumigation techniques, if our Ayurvedic hospital starts fumigation every day, that means periodically, whatever they want, weekly, fortnightly. If they use this, it's a research. Because now there is a facility that you can prove it. It's a useful or it's not useful. But both the findings are very useful. Remember my words. Now there is a swab taken. Now because of NABH, National Accreditation Board of Hospital, they are taking the swab after fumigation and they prove there is no bacterial load on the walls, on the doors of the OT, operation theatre. So these type you must think. Then you have to talk about Panchakarma. You have to make some research. I have already given an example. For example, till today, I am not sure whether how many Ayurvedic hospitals are following the protocol when do they Rakta Moksha, and if the patient is already suffering from bleeding disorders, blood dyscrasias, thrombocytopenic purpura. So before Jalauka okay, you are taking the history and it's very casual. तुम्हाला दादा काही झालं होतं का पूर्वी? तुम्हाला काय प्रॉब्लेम आहे का? तो म्हणतो नाही. त्याला कशाला ते thrombocytopenic purpura? How he will know about thrombocytopenic purpura? Or how will he know importance that the disease that he has? So BTCT, bleeding time and clotting time, should be done before any Jalukavacharana, Rakta Moksha. And if it is not done, and if it is done, you make a record. And how many people are having the complications like this, non-stopping of the bleeding after Jalukavachara? Because Jaluka leaches hirudin in the secretion. Hirudin, it's a what is antiplatelet. Okay, so it will not stop the bleeding, and there is a danger. So that's why we must be careful. Then, if you are making some medicines for the Madhumeh and you are claiming that I can actually take it into granted, your research claim should not be tall. Most of the Ayurvedic people, without any proper documentation, I'm sorry to say, they are all my colleagues. Ayurveda is mine. These people are mine people, my family members, Ayurveda family. But still, just saying that, okay, this drug is very good for Madhumeha, I have seen that the controlled symptoms are there. He has not any complaint. But my dear friends, Madhumeha, diabetes mellitus, or hypertension, these are silent killers. They will not show any symptoms, and one day he will land into the serious complication like blindness. That's why, what is a harm? What is a harm? My question is, what is harm? HARM, to do the adjuvant modern, that means the treatment, investigation to confirm your finding. Because glycosylated hemoglobin is such a best test that it can give the average blood sugar level in last 3 months. So you can prove that my drug is very well acting for last 6 months. If the value is below 6 glycosylated hemoglobin, if it is above or 9, 10, and my Vaidya friend is telling that his drug is working, I'm sorry, I'm afraid his attitude, about his attitude. Okay, forget about, we are talking about what is the scope of Ayurveda, what is the scope of research in Ayurveda. Okay, so this I will stop sharing, and now I will open the new slide for that matter. Okay, so we can try for the next one. Okay, next slide. This is actually what I can say, ancient or classical research methods that I have already mentioned. Research is not something new that has been there in our life. Research was there in Ayurveda. That concept was there. Research is there, and research will be there in Ayurveda. Because I personally believe Ayurveda is a science and Ayurveda is a progressive science. And any progress cannot take place without you are having the attitude of new findings, new knowledge. Okay. So again, the question is related with ancient or classical. These are the similar terms. The question may be write down the classical research method or maybe ancient research method. Meaning of both is same. What is talked about research in Ayurveda? This question is related with the chapter 1 of my book. Everybody knows that Professor Deshpande and Dr. Ranade has edited one important book, Research Methodology and Medical Statistics, which is available by Manakarnika publication, Maharashtra State in India. Chapter 1 is related with this question. What is research, and describe the research methods. But it has another reference also. You can refer this chapter of my book, Classical Methods of Research. But whatever I'm going to talk today, tomorrow, or on Monday, it's more than that particular chapter. My first statement, Ayurveda is a life science. It's not only medical science. Allopathy is a medical science. So this is life, considering all aspects of your life from birth to death. They are not talking only about diseases. They are not talking about social only preventive medicines like PSM, preventive social medicine. They are talking about day-to-day activities of your life. It may be daily routine, it may be the seasonal routine, dinacharya, ritucharya, hitakar things, ahitakar things, beneficial, every aspect. And that too, TOO, with man. Hitaitam sukham dakham, ayustasya hitaitam. Manam cha tacchetu. Man word is very important. Man is a quantification. So Ayurveda is not only qualitative description, it's a quantitative understanding as well. So Ayurveda is a science. Why? Why? Because it is based on research. Ayurveda science is based on research. So research was there, research is there, and research will be there. And always you know that research is based on pramana. Research is always related with praman, statistics. Research and statistics are like the twin brothers, or two sides of the one coin. Two sides of the one coin. On one side research, on another side statistics. Unless and until whatever you do the research, if it is not statistically significant, is not research. And it's somehow true. It's somehow true. You must give the importance to different statistical tests. Okay, research is again and again, not one time. Remember my words. Re means again and again, searching for the knowledge, new understanding, but in a systematic manner. So research is always based on pramana, and these two important things you must write. Pramana is equal to proof. Pramana is equal to evidence. Pramana means proof, not only the quantity, not only quantity. Pramana, one meaning is a 1, 2, 3, 4 numbers, but another pramana means proof. In Sanskrit, praman, English translation, proof or evidence. And when I say evidence, actually always it is said that allopathy is evidence-based science. But I am today telling you, Ayurveda is also evidence-based science. This sentence is very much important. Ayurveda is evidence-based science. And evidence means praman. So these are the 4 praman. Another thing important. Science should have some concrete cause and effect relationship. Cause and effect. Because of this is happening. Okay. Unless and until you have this joining of the cause and effect, you cannot say I'm talking scientifically. Then only it's like a intuition. So why you are taking the lectures? No, I feel that I should take. Then I am not a scientific person. I am taking the lectures because I feel that in Corona pandemic, in this lockdown period, my students should get at least some knowledge at their doorstep in their house. This is my, what you can say, the cause of taking the lectures. And that's why there is some effect that some people, some students are happy, okay, we are little bit learning something in this lockdown period. So there is a cause and effect relationship. Research, there is always a cause and effect relationship. Okay. 4 pramanas mentioned in Ayurveda. First is a pratyaksha. Some knowledge can be pursued by directly seeing by your eyes, naked eyes. Not only eyes, remember all the jnanendriyas, shrotra, tvak, chakshu, rasana, ghran, and ubhayendriya, our CPU, central processing unit. CPU in the brain, that is mind. Mind is, in Ayurveda, it is called as a ubhaya indriya. It is jnanendriya as well as it is karmendriya. It's a joining phenomenon. Okay. So you can get the knowledge, but remember, I am saying I can take the knowledge by my eyes. It is not only like, for example, without specs, I cannot see. But I can take knowledge by applying these specs. Simple thing. So if I want to look inside histological study, then I can use the electronic microscope. I can use the scopies. For example, esophago-gastroduodenoscopy, OGD, that Ayurvedic people can use because it's an extension of your indriya, and that is accepted because this is not a monopoly. Instruments are not the monopoly. That are the developments of biophysics, biochemistry, biotechnology, and Ayurvedic people, for their better understanding, can use it. So that is, everything is pratyaksha. Okay. Anumana, logical inference. Logical inference. For example, if you visit to the doctor nowadays in pandemic, doctor, I am having the sneezing and watering of the nose and cough. I am having a little bit fever and my sore throat is there. Doctor is checking your temperature by that instrument, little bit higher temperature. Then he logically make anumana inference. This person may have COVID-19 infection. That is anuman because he has not seen any virus till that particular clinical examination. Whatever you do in your clinic, in your hospital, as a clinical examination, that is all temporarily or provisional diagnosis, anumana. And then your anumana can be confirmed by taking swab and see for the viral load. Okay. So within next 10 minutes, automatically the video will close. So don't worry about it. Within next 10 minutes. We have still 9 minutes to go. Next is Aptopadesh. Whatever the information we are looking for, it should have some authentic information for the research purpose. Okay. That's why Ayurveda has mentioned Apt, the importance of Apt. But when we see the Charak Purvartha, Charak Uttarartha, Ashtanga Hridaya, my Siddhanta teachers only restrict their word Apta to the Charak, Sushrut, Vagbhat. They say, these are only your Apta. I don't agree. Anything which is authentic should be called as Apta. That's why in Corona pandemic, what the scientists, what the doctors, what the government is telling you, don't believe on WhatsApp. Am I right? So WhatsApp messages are not Apta. Is it clear? Then who is Apta? WHO, World Health Organization, has their authentic website. Central Government of India has their authentic website where they are declaring the updates of corona infections. that particular information is not authentic. Yes, it is authentic. And that's why WHO World Web Link, government, central government, that particular website is Aapta at this moment. So you believe on this Aapta. So make a wide sense. Anything authentic can be called as a Aapta. And I have mentioned that word Aapta. Why I am proud of that. And that's why I'm telling you. This authentication is accepted, well accepted in today's research. And that was already existing in our ancient Granthas. They have already mentioned those things. Okay. Next is a Yukti. This Praman is also very much important. Yukti Praman. Every moment we are using this particular Praman, proof, evidence. Whatever we are practicing, whatever the doctors doing in pandemic, they are doing the conclusion based on the very different variables. First, they check the clinical symptoms. Then they ask for any travel history, foreign travel, contact with the foreign travel person. Okay. Then they do the swab. And then by Yukti, they make a conclusion that yes, this person is affected with COVID-19, coronavirus. So whatever we are doing in our research, especially when you do the thesis, right on, thesis, dissertation, in discussion, in chapter of this, because there are, the title, aim and objectives, research question, hypothesis, null hypothesis, H1 hypothesis, material, method, inclusion criteria, exclusion criteria. Then actually you do your experiments, clinical trials, survey, collect the data, put it in the tables, put it in the graphs. Am I right? That is observations. Then afterwards you start discussion. Whatever the things you are discussing in that particular thesis, it is nothing but the Yukti. Remember my words. That is Yukti. And what is the ultimate product from the Yukti is your conclusion. That is your conclusion is the final product of your Yukti, Pramana, that you are using in your research. So Yukti is a result drawn from considering all the variables. Materials used for the research in Ayurveda. We are talking about research was there in Ayurveda, ancient science. What was the material that they had? They may not have the scopies. They may not have the electronic microscopes. They don't have any ultra-modern gadgets, but they have the very, very strong instruments, which is all your latest technology. They were using their sharp senses. Sharpness of senses. I am using another word. Write down that word, sharpness. I will explain it another time. Prasanna Atma Indriya Manaha. Who is the Swastha? Prasanna Atma Indriya Manaha. Prasanna. How you can identify Prasanna of Indriya? Then Ashtanga Sangra Indutika, they have mentioned. Vaidya Dalukar told me, Vaidya Dalukar from Pune, Ashtanga College. Vaidya Dalukar. He is my favorite teacher. Okay. He mentioned that Indriya Patutvena, Indriya are the masters if they are having the very skillful, very potent. I should be able to see what a normal people cannot see. That power you should gain. I feel that somebody may object this my statement. Sir, 6x6 vision is normal. What you are talking about? But that's what I'm telling, that there should be some sharpness in your understanding with the senses. Then your indriyas are working very properly. Shrotra, ear, they are talking about different sounds. When you want to make any research regarding the sound, you must use this material, Shrotra. Twak is for touch, pain and temperature. That is called the tactile sensation for the skin. Chakshu, that is eye, they are talking about optic knowledge. Drishti Jnana, optic knowledge, color, light, etc. About Rupa. Rasana is for taste knowledge. That is, tongue is used mainly. And then Grhana, it is meant for smell. My dear friends, this is all together. I think it's a concluding last 1 minute. So at the moment, I stop this my sharing. And you write down these numbers. We have completed the 7 slides. In the next lecture, I will continue from the slide number 8. We are talking about research ancient research methods, or classical research methods. Once again, I am very much thankful to all of you for joining me, because as the Jnaneshwari is saying, Shrota Vina Vakta Nohi. Without the students, any teacher cannot do anything. Whatever the skill, whatever the mastery he has. So I respect all of you. I love all of you. And please don't forget to visit my YouTube channel, Rajendra Deshpande, and go for the playlist. And please subscribe my YouTube channel, because then you will get a lot of other things that I have already uploaded. Because I am seeing there are some people who are not from Ayurvedic College degree, they have also joined sometimes. So I make a salute to them also, because they are eager to learn. Okay. In this way, we will go step by step further, and I wish you all the best. Please take good care of it yourself. Do you want to ask anything? But I think I am seeing on the screen there is still 2.27 minutes. Okay. Why not I should go further? Now, role of mind as a Ubhayendriya. This is the word from computer, CPU. Central processing unit. Jnanendriya are taking the information. There is some processing has been done. Do you know these words like when you learn about speech, Broca's area and the Wernicke's area, you write down this word, Wernicke, W-E-R-N-I-C-K. This is the modern physiology word. Wernicke's area is the area where actually the processing is done. Sensory signals are going there. Then action is decided, and according to action, the Broca's area is indicated for speech. Okay. So role of mind is like Ubhayendriya, both sensory and motor. What is the function of mind? Why we are using the mind in our research? Because jnanasya bhava abhava evacha. This is the main function of mana, manache karya. Jnanasya bhava abhava evacha. Whatever we get, knowledge is because of the mind. And if we don't get the knowledge, that is also because of the mind. So gaining of knowledge is a research. So we are using material as a mind for gaining the knowledge. You will be surprised, my dear friends, with this statement. Okay. So why this is there? Both jnana and ajnana is because of the mind. I will explain you maybe in the next slide. Okay. So thank you very much once again, and I take you leave right now. It is 12:40 in my watch and slide number 8.